Good afternoon. Kumusta? Ready na kayo for the
Afternoon po.
exam by next? Good afternoon. So ready na kayo sa exam by next week? Ready na?
Hindi pa po, sir.
Hindi pa. Okay. So just to just to freshen you up, I made the course task for this week very easy. So you just need to answer one question, and you need to upload that for in a Word format at our Canvas. Okay, so please don't forget to answer also the quiz that we posted for this week, which is week 11. Okay, so next week would be our midterm. So next week would be our midterm examination, and the coverage of our midterm examination is from week 7 to week 11, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we have 5 weeks ang coverage ng ating midterm period. So please review all the lectures that we had. Okay, please review the lectures that we had, especially our synchronous sessions, which will be uploaded until tomorrow. All the different weeks for our lectures, especially yung mga in-emphasize ko during our discussion, because this is very much important. So I highlighted those questions that might appear in your examination. So you need to analyze several scenarios. You need to analyze several problems and respond correctly to the questions being asked for your midterm examination. So how many items? So there will be 50 items for this time. So 50 items for midterm examination, and that 50 items will cover again week 7 to 11. Okay, so and that will also cover 1 hour of your time. Okay, so we will be I'm going to post the password at our Canvas as an announcement. I'm going to post it dun sa ating page, Facebook page, and I'm also going to post it dun sa Messenger. So tatlo yon. So hindi nyo talaga mamimiss yung password for that particular exam, which will be given 15 minutes before the time of the examination. Again, 50 items, and that will be that will cover an hour of your time. Okay, so for one MCQ, that's equivalent to 1 minute. Okay, but you have extra time for you to finalize your answers. Okay, so this is week 11 for nursing informatics, and our topic for this week will focus on dependable systems. Okay, so since we are working in the hospital, and in the future, most of the hospitals will adopt its clinical information system. So it's very much important that we take a look at how dependable systems are. Kasi for example, just recently, di ba? So we had some malicious attacks, no? So if na-remember nyo, so before the start of the first semester, there are malicious attacks to university databases and university websites. And fortunately, Our Lady of Fatima University is not affected on any of those attacks, because we have a very secured system, and we also have dependable system. So what we did is we unpublished, no? We unpublished our database na nagkaroon ng mga attacks, kaya extra protection din doon sa ating university databases. Okay, so it's very much important in nursing that we also focus on dependable system. When we say dependable system, so we need to make them as secure as possible. Okay, we need to make them as secure as possible, because we are working on confidential data of our patient, and we don't want those confidential data to be shared publicly. And we are also working on the health of the patient, which is very much important also. Kaya nga sa clinical information system, we need to bank on dependable systems. Okay, so as mentioned, so for nursing, not only in nursing but in healthcare in general, we have a need for dependable nursing information system. So especially now that we are having this COVID-19 pandemic, and most of us are depending on systems and databases. So kailangan talaga dependable yung ating mga applications and programs na ginagamit. Just like for example, Canvas. Canvas is the world's top learning management system, and this is very much secure ang ating Canvas, kaya hindi tayo masyado nagkakaroon ng problema in terms of the security features ng ating Canvas, because it's very much dependable. So when we talk about dependability, so pumapasok dyan yung mga concepts on the attributes on dependability. So pag sinabi nating attributes of dependability, we are asking how can we say that a system is dependent? Okay? Dependable, sorry. So how can we say that a system is dependable? Paano ba natin maaasahan? Okay? I have a chat here. Same schedule po bang exam? It will be posted. So it will be posted soon. So I think tomorrow ata magpo-post na ng schedule. So I'm going to remind everyone of the examination. Okay? So pero based from the previous experience, same naman yung schedule ng examination. Okay? But if there will be changes on that, I'm going to post it at the announcement at Facebook and of course dun sa ating Canvas, announcement, and Messenger. Okay, so going back, attributes of dependability, how can we say that a system is dependable? So it is composed of three important components. Number one, system reliability. Dapat reliable siya. Okay, so meaning the system consistently behaves the same way. So our system or any software should be free of bugs. Kaya nga meron tayong testing na tinatawag. And later we're going to discuss those different steps. Second would be service availability. So kailangan usable siya kapag kailangan natin siya. Okay? And confidentiality, just like what I have mentioned earlier, we are in the hospital and any information system that we are working in a certain hospital should secure the confidential data of our patient. And those who can access the data are the ones who are authorized to access. For example, the members of the healthcare team. You have the doctor, you have the nurses, and other members of the hospital service system. Okay, so tatlo yon. Don't forget, because in your examination, you might identify which of the following is not an attribute of dependability based on the given scenario. So you need to remember that a dependable system is composed of reliable system, service availability, and of course, confidentiality. Dapat reliable yung system, free of bugs. So service availability, available yung system if we need them, and it secures the confidential information of our patients in the hospital. Okay, so another would be yung tinatawag nating data integrity. So data are not corrupted or destroyed. So as we can see, for example, nagsasubmit kayo ng nagsasubmit kayo ng course task sa Canvas. Okay, wala namang scenario that we encountered na nagkaroon ng problema in terms of your submission, na na-corrupt yung file, etc. So it has something to do with data integrity. So when we talk about responsiveness, so it responds to user input with an expected and acceptable time period. Okay, so dapat working siya. And safety, the system does not cause harm. Okay, the system does not cause harm dun sa mga gumagamit. So we also have guidelines as far as dependability is concerned. So dapat yung software na ginagamit sa healthcare should be designed for dependability. And this is one of the primemost considerations of our developer. So for example, when we are working with several projects with Apple, number one considerations on top of our list when we develop systems would be kailangan it was designed to be dependable. Okay? So it should be designed to be dependable. So pag sinabi nating architect for dependability, we consider the needs of our clients and we develop the system from bottoms upward. Okay. So for example, our Lady of Fatima University, we need a learning management system. So we first take a look at what should be the needs or the primary needs of our students. Then from that, we chose our learning management system, a system that we can depend on. Okay, number two, anticipate failures. So ito yung tinatawag nating troubleshooting. If there are problems in a software or a system or a database, kailangan meron siyang features on how to troubleshoot or anticipate failure. And I think this is very much embedded on most of the softwares and programs that we are using. For example, on our operating system. So if you are using Windows at nagkaroon ng problema, kapag hindi nag-load ang BIOS, okay, basic input and output system, if you can still remember from our discussion, kapag hindi nag-input yung mga files na kailangan para mag-open yung system, so nagkakaroon siya ng tinatawag nating troubleshooting interface. And just like, for example, on the Mac that we are using, if man nagkaroon ng problema, ang gagawin ni Mac mismo, automatic yon. I-restart niya yung system, tapos ilalagay niya sa safe mode so that you can troubleshoot on what would be the possible problem in terms of the file structure, etc. And not only anticipate failures, but of course anticipate success. So we are developing systems, especially yung mga nurse informaticists and programmers. We are developing systems because we want to help the healthcare industry and we want data management at the hospital to be successful. Okay? So yon, guidelines in dependable system, it should of course be made to become dependable. If there will be problem, it can anticipate some of the failures, it can do troubleshooting, and of course, it can also anticipate success. Okay, so during the first weeks of our nursing informatics, we discussed about the hospital information system and the clinical information system. So I know, alam na natin kung anong difference ng hospital information system and clinical information system. When we say clinical information system, okay, so it is used for primarily for clinical purposes. Kapag sinabi nating hospital information system, these are information systems na ginagamit specifically sa hospital. These two are also different with what we call electronic health records. When we say electronic health records, it covers the womb-to-tomb data of our patient. So meaning ginagawa to at the national level. For example, in our country, hopefully in the future, meron tayong tinatawag na electronic health records for all the citizens of the Philippines. Wherein, kapag na-admit ka in a certain hospital, nagkaroon ka ng health problem in that particular hospital, okay, they can easily retrieve your information based from your previous hospitalization, even if you are confined in a different hospital. So yun yung idea, no? So it covers all your health information from womb to tomb, and because of that, because of the healthcare provider can access your data, okay, even your previous hospitalization, maybe in a different hospital. So nagkakaroon tayo ng saving, no? Kasi save natin yung time for us to do another set of assessment to our clients, di ba? Kapag nag-duty na kayo, okay, kapag pumunta kayo sa hospital at nag-duty na kayo sa hospital, okay, first thing na ginagawa natin would be assessment, especially kapag may mga newly admitted patients. We ask their history, we ask their demographics, we ask kung ano yung kanilang chief complaint. Okay, with the use of the electronic health record, since nahandun na yung mga health histories no, so malilimitahan na yung time that you're going to ask information from your patient. Okay, so these are the guidelines, no, for dependable system. And just like what I'm telling you, so we are revisiting the clinical information system or yung tinatawag nating CIS. And based from the previous discussion, we do understand that kapag sinabi nating clinical information system, hindi siya lumalabas immediately. These are being developed by a lot of companies, by a lot of individuals, nurse informaticists or programmers for us before we can use that particular clinical information system. Okay, and pag sinabi nating development, no, or design ng isang clinical information system, malaki or mahabang proseso yung involved dyan before it can be used. Just like for example, di ba ngayong COVID-19, meron na tayo mga companies or research centers that are developing potential vaccines, no, for COVID-19 virus. Okay, so hindi ganun kabilis mag-produce ng isang vaccine. It undergo different phases, okay, from the testing sa animal, then after that, checking yan sa humans, then after that, checking the long-term and the short-term effects of that particular vaccine, no? So ganun din ang paggamit or paggawa natin ng mga clinical information system. Hindi siya mabilisan lang. So we are undergoing a lot of processes. Okay, marami tayong stages na pinagdadaanan before siya, of course, ma-implement or magamit ng ating mga respective hospitals. And when we talk about the planning phase, yan yung pinaka-umpisa. Please take note of that. Okay, in developing clinical information system, the first thing to do would be the planning phase. Just like, for example, if we're going to implement a certain program, we need to have a planning phase first. Okay, and the planning phase is composed of 4 important steps. So, nandyan yung we identify the problem, what would be the problem or the issues in the clinical area that our clinical information system would like to address. So ina-identify natin yun. Bakit ba tayo nagde-develop ng system? Bakit ba nagde-develop ang mga programmer ng mga softwares? Because number one, there is a problem and we need to identify that initially. Number two, we need to also check the feasibility. Okay, so would it be appropriate or would it be feasible for us to create this system? Okay ba ang financial? Okay ba ang manpower? Okay ba ang talent natin na gagawa ng clinical information system? Then after that, we start with budgeting, right? And when we say budgeting, we are actually allocating resources. Okay, for example, if we have 1 million to develop a specific system that will be used in the hospital, how many percent of that 1 million will be attributed to programmers? How many are or how many percent are attributed to the developers, di ba? And how many percent are allotted for those who will initially test, di ba? Kasi kailangan may honorarium sila. Then, all throughout the planning process, there should be documentation and negotiation of the project scope and agreement. Di ba? Kasi usually, kapag ang hospital, they need a specific system, okay? Kailangan nilang mag-consider ng companies that are expert in developing the clinical information system. So, they need to communicate, they need to negotiate with these third-party providers before they can develop this, of course, this clinical information system. Okay, so again, we define the problem first, we identify if this would be feasible at the beginning, kasi kung hindi feasible, we don't proceed with the project. We need to allocate budget and resources, as well as to negotiate with the potential key players of developing a clinical information system. Okay, and when we say, let us dig deeper into the planning phase. Okay, so again, this is the first start of developing a clinical information system. In defining the problem, I already mentioned that you need to lay down what are your expectations that the system can operate, di ba? Okay, so just like I just would like to share with you an experience from a friend. I have a friend in Apple that are from Apple that are developing games. Okay, so itong developer na to, napakagaling na to, isa siyang Japanese. Okay, Japanese developer, at kilala nyo kilala nyo yung game na na-develop niya. Okay, this game is very much simple pero very addictive. Do you know yung Flappy Bird? Have you heard of that Flappy Bird application? Very simple controls, etc., but very much addictive. Okay, so yon. So that particular friend, so sabi ko, how did you come up with that particular game? Sabi niya, number one, I first identified the needs of my consumers or the gamers. Okay, and one of the problems ng mga gamers, they are not a fan of complicated games. They want games that are easy to operate. And number two, they don't want a very complex games wherein na aalat yung attention nila, instead na ma-entertain sila, na stress sila. So that particular friend bank on those problems and issues. So just like for the clinical information system, we need to define ano ba yung talagang problem that the system would like to address. Okay, and that this will be followed by a feasibility study. How feasible for us, how feasible is the development of that clinical information system? And that includes ano yung objective mo for that system, ano yung pwede maging impact nito sa environment now that we are very much considerate now of our environmental impact. Determination of information needs. Ano ba yung mga data ng client na gusto mo nandiyan sa clinical information system? And ano yung scope? Is this applicable for the use of nurses only? Or is it also applicable for doctors and pharmacists? So you need to take a look kung hanggang saan yung scope ng magiging clinical information system. Number one, third one is the negotiation and project scope agreement. Usually third-party developers, because most of the hospitals, they don't have their own capacity to develop the clinical information system. So they look for a company that can help them develop that clinical information system hanggang dun sa tinatawag nating budget planning. And in budget planning, we allocate several resources. Okay, so that is the planning phase. So it will be followed by the next phase, which is the system analysis phase. Okay, so when we say system analysis phase, it is composed of data collection, data analysis, data review, benefits identification, and system proposal development. So ito na yung role ng ating third-party developers. So yung mga third-party developers natin, nag-create sila ng frameworks, blueprints na pinapakita nila doon sa client or doon sa hospital before they can start developing the system. Okay, so again, is composed of the system analysis phase. So dinadiagnose sila ano ba yung kailangan ng hospital. And also data collection phase. Doon ba sa, for example, sa module na add a patient, ano ba yung gusto nyong information na nahandon? Kailangan nyo ba ng hospital number, etc. After the data collection, so nagkakaroon na sila ng data analysis. Okay? So ito yung mga flowchart na pag-aralan natin during high school, no? So during high school, di ba, meron tayong mga decision system. If yes, go here. If no, go downward. So something like that. So that is part of the data analysis phase. And lastly, we have, of course, the data review. So which is consists not only of data review, yung pinakahuling phases natin, but of course, sorry, um, identification, no? So identification of the potential benefits and the system proposal development before it can be approved for the actual programming method. Okay. So, after nun would be yung tinatawag na ngayon nating the system design phase. Yung system design phase, ito yung time na kung saan actually ginagawa na nung third-party developer yung clinical information system ng hospital. Okay? So marami silang dapat i-consider dito, yung functional specification, technical specification, and implementation and planning. So when we say functional specification, ano yung mga data na kailangan i-process? Technical specification, ano yung mga hardware na kailangan? Gaano kabilis dapat ang network kapag ginamit yung clinical information system? And lastly, the ways on how this can be applied in a particular setting, just of course, yung tinatawag nating hospital. So just as mentioned, system design phase. Okay, so kailangan ng third-party developers to identify the functions of that particular clinical information system. Okay, kailangan ding i-identify ang technical specifications, magwo-work ba to sa Windows na computer, magwo-work ba to sa Mac, okay? Gaano ka bilis ang network na kailangan for that particular clinical information system. And of course, implementation planning because this will be implemented doon sa ating hospital. Okay? So, yun. Actually, I have a meeting at 1:30. That's the reason why our lecture would be very short for this. But for this module, you just need to remember anong steps ang included for every phase of the clinical information system development. Okay? And I highlighted three items in your midterm examination. Okay? So yon. So you need to consider ano ba yung mga steps na included dun sa planning phase, okay? So yung sa project development, etc. And please remember the keywords that I have shared with you. Okay, so before we end our short session prior to your midterm examination, do you have any questions or inquiries with regards to the topics that we discussed for the midterm period? Okay, so it would be easy ang technique sa inyo for you to pass the midterm examination is to go over all the lectures, the synchronous sessions that we conducted. And I'm going to upload the recording of all until tomorrow. But don't worry because on my YouTube channel you have there a nursing informatics folder. So lahat no naka-identify naman week 1, week 2, week 3, so forth and so on. So again, for the midterm examination, it will cover 7-11. So just remember 7-11. Module 7 to Module 11. Okay? So do you have any questions, guys? Or some point of clarification? As you can see, the components of our midterm examination has something to do with the systems, no? With the development of several systems. So yung mga policy natin, okay? So, and that would be mostly theoretical, okay? Since the Philippines is a developing country and most of our hospitals are not utilizing electronic health records, clinical information system, or hospital information system. Okay? So any question, guys? Any question? So the final period would be very, very exciting because we will be talking on some of the future trends in nursing informatics. We're going to also explore kung paano ba ginagamit ang nursing informatics in education, how is nursing informatics being used in research, and how nursing informatics is being used in the clinical practice. So makikita natin yung mga current trends ngayon on saan ba papunta, saan ba ang future ng nursing informatics. And this will be very exciting because we're going to utilize, I'm going to show you some examples na ginagamit sa clinical areas, even in the community healthcare setting. Okay? So guys, any question?
None, sir.
Wala naman po.
None po, sir.
Sure. Okay, nag-review na ba kayo sa ibang subject din?
Hindi pa, sir.
Hindi pa, okay. So gradually naman nakaka-adapt na tayo dito sa pandemic, no? 'Di ba? So madaming modules, madaming kailangan task. But of course, sanayan lang din 'yan, no? Just like you, I'm also taking courses now at Johns Hopkins University, and I'm having challenges. Sabi ko nga, I'm very considerate for my students because I'm also experiencing what they are experiencing. Okay? So yun. So it's all about time management lang din. So dapat meron kayong allotted na time for each of the courses that you are taking. Okay, so please don't forget, guys, to answer the quizzes. If you have course task, na hindi nyo napasa, please submit it, before the midterm examination. Okay? Please submit it before the midterm examination because kapag napasok na siya sa system, automatic yung grades nyo na nagko-compute doon eh. So make sure that you submit, okay? And we will do our best to return your papers on time. Okay? So with that, I need to attend my meeting at 1:30. So I hope you have so far you are having a good time not only in your studies but of course with your family. And stay safe, healthy, and happy.